Hi, this is a review on how to convert units within the metric system. Remember, whether it's the metric system or the customary system of measurement, if you're going from bigger units to smaller units, the operation is multiply. If you're going from smaller units to bigger units, the operation is divide. I'll be referring to that quite a bit. With the metric system, you can use this chart. All students have this in their notebook. And because the metric system is a place value system, you can multiply or divide by multiples of 10. The trick that I'm going to explain in great detail is how you look at the number of spaces the units that you're converting to are, how many spaces away they are, and that's how many zeros you're going to put after a 1. And then, of course, you can decide whether you're multiplying or dividing. So here we go. Our first example is 426 millimeters, and I need to convert that into centimeters. I'm starting with millimeters here. I'm moving to centimeters. I'm going from smaller units to bigger units. I know that operation is divide. I'm going to do 426 divided by something. And since it's only one space away, I'm going to put 1 0 after my 1. So it's 426 divided by 10. Now if I wanted to, I could do the long division of 426 divided by 10, and I would find out that the answer would be 4.26. We already know how to multiply or divide decimals, so I'm just going to show you the trick. I'm going to do 426. I know that there's a decimal there, whether it's always written there or not, I can always add it. And I'm dividing by 10. Because I'm dividing by 10, I know that my answer or quotient is going to be smaller than the dividend that I was dividing. So I'm going to move this decimal either to the left or to the right when I'm converting between the metric system units. I know my answer is going to be smaller. I'm going to move my decimal one space. That means I'm going to move it to the left, and my answer is 42.6 centimeters. If I was going to move it to the right, I would move it over one spot. I realized, oops, that answer is bigger. I get a bigger answer when I'm multiplying. I was supposed to divide. That's how I know to move the decimal to the left, because it was a division problem. Again, 426 millimeters turned into centimeters is 42.6 centimeters. Let's do another problem here. I have 32 hectograms, and I need to convert that to kilograms. I'm going to look at where hectograms is on my chart. I'm going to look at kilograms on my chart, and I realize it's one space away. I am going from smaller to bigger. Again, that operation is divide. I'm going to do 32. It's one space away, so I'm going to put 1 0 after my 1. We talked about how, because it's a place value system, I'm dividing. My answer is going to be smaller. That's how I know to move the decimal this way. I have 1 0. I move it one spot. My answer is 32 hectograms is 3 2/10 kilograms. Next. Here I have 8.47 liters, and I want to convert that into centiliters. I'm going to look at where liters is on my chart, and I'm going to look at where centiliters on my chart, and I realize that at this time I'm going from bigger to smaller. When I'm going from bigger to smaller, the operation is multiply. I'll then look at how many spaces away. It is 2 spaces away, so I'm going to be multiplying my original number by 1 with 2 zeros. Again, I know to put 2 zeros because it was 2 places away. I know that I'm multiplying because I'm going from bigger to smaller. So very similar to the other two, because it's a place value system, if I wanted to, I could, on scratch paper, multiply 8 47/100 by 100, do all the work, and find out the answer. A shortcut is to realize I'm multiplying. If I'm multiplying by a multiple of 10, I can just move my decimal over? Well, do I move it to the left or do I move it to the right? Because I'm multiplying, my answer is going to be bigger. If my answer is going to be bigger, I need to move that this way. How many times do I move it? 2 times. And so 8.47 liters is 847 centiliters. Next, I have 115 kilometers, and I need to turn that into just regular meters. I'm going from kilometers over here to meters over here. I'm going from bigger to smaller. I know that the operation I want to use is multiply. How many spaces away is it? It's 1, 2, 3. So I'm multiplying it by 1, 2, 3 zeros after my 1. I know that there's a decimal there. It's not always written, but it's still there. And I'm going to have a bigger number because I'm multiplying. So I'm going to move my decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right. And I can add 1, 2, 3 zeros. 115 kilometers is 115,000 meters. Next, we have 9,824 decigrams. On our chart, we have deca and deci. Deca is either with a DK or a DA, just depends on what worksheet or book you're looking at, or if it's just a D in front of whatever base unit it is. If it's just a D, it's decis. In this situation, it's decigrams. So we have 9,824 decigrams. I need to convert it to hectograms. I look at my chart, I'm going from decigrams to hectograms. I'm moving from smaller to bigger. I know that operation is divide. The original number that I'm working with is 9,824. And again, I look for decigrams and hectograms. It's 1, 2, 3 spaces away. So I have 1, 2, 3 zeros after my 1. The number 9,824 has an invisible decimal point there, whether it's there or not. We know that it's there. And we're dividing. If we're dividing, I know that my answer to a division problem will be smaller than the dividend that I was dividing. I'm going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes sense because 9 and 824 thousandths is a smaller value than 9,824. So again, 9,824 decigrams is 9 and 824 thousandths hectograms when I've converted it correctly. Next, number 6, we have problems where there's a big circle in the middle and the directions say use a greater than or less than or an equal sign to compare. Which one of these do I put in the circle? First, I need to turn them all into the same kind of units. It's kind of like if I said, all right, I'm going to give you 1,724 pennies, and the other person, I'm going to give you 65 quarters. Who has more money? Before you could really fairly compare, you would need to turn either all of your pennies into how many quarters, or you would need to know how many pennies is 65 quarters. You're going to have to pick. In this situation, I need to either turn 32 hectograms into kilograms or 3 2/10 kilograms into hectograms. It really doesn't matter which one I do. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I've already got hectograms here. Bring that down. I need to turn my 3 2/10 kilograms, I need to turn that into how many hectograms? I don't know. So I'll just have some room up here. I'm going to do 3 2/10 kilograms. I'm going to go from kilograms to hectograms. I'm going from bigger to smaller, so I'm going to multiply. I did one jump, so I'm going to multiply with 1 0 after the end. And when I make that bigger, 3.2 kilograms is 32 hectograms. The operation or the sign that I want to put there is that it is equivalent. It is equal to. Now that was kind of neat because it was 32 and 32 here. They happen to be equal, but What if we have completely different numbers here? Example number 7. Again, use those signs to compare. I have 150 milliliters over here, and I have 2 liters over here. Which one is bigger or smaller or whatever? So, again, I already have milliliters. I'm just going to leave that there, bring it down, and I'm going to convert my 2 liters into milliliters. 2 liters, and I want to turn it into, I don't know how many milliliters before I'm able to really decide what sign goes there. All right, so I'm going from liters to milliliters. Here's liters to milliliters, and I have to move 1, 2, 3 places. I am going from bigger to smaller. If I'm going from bigger to smaller, I'm going to multiply. Again, it is 1, 2, 3, so I am multiplying by 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take that 2. We know that there's a decimal there. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 spots. Decimal's no longer there. It's over here. This is 2,000 milliliters. We know that 2,000 milliliters is greater than 150 milliliters, or you could say 150 milliliters is less than 2,000 milliliters. So that is the appropriate sign, and I am now done.